Stop everything you're doing right now because what just happened on the Cleveland Browns sideline is so insane, so absolutely unhinged, so completely outrageous that it's going to change the entire conversation around this franchise and expose one of the biggest frauds in the NFL. Jeudy, the supposed number one receiver who's been doing absolutely nothing all season except dropping passes and collecting paychecks, completely lost his mind and tried to physically fight Shedeur Sanders on the sideline after one single missed pass. One incomplete throw, and this man had a full-scale nuclear meltdown in front of 70,000 people who immediately started booing him out of the building. And honestly, those boos weren't nearly loud enough for what this clown deserves after the season he's been having and the way he just disrespected his rookie quarterback on national television. Let me paint the picture of what actually went down because the footage is absolutely damning, and it reveals everything you need to know about Jeudy's character, his complete lack of self-awareness, and his total inability to handle professional football. The Browns are getting destroyed by San Francisco, the offense is struggling to move the ball, and there's a deep shot downfield that doesn't connect between Shedeur and Jeudy. It's one incomplete pass in a game full of incomplete passes from multiple receivers. It happens literally dozens of times every single game in the NFL. But Jeudy decided that this particular incompletion was worth having an absolute meltdown over, so he storms across the sideline like a maniac, gets right in Shedeur Sanders' face while the rookie is sitting there trying to study plays on his tablet, and just completely unloads on him. We're talking aggressive finger-pointing, yelling, getting in his personal space, standing over him in this intimidating posture, and getting so worked up that multiple offensive linemen had to physically grab Jeudy and pull him away before this turned into an actual fistfight on the sideline. Think about that for a second. Grown men who weigh 300 pounds had to step in and physically restrain Jeudy because he was so out of control, so aggressive, so completely unhinged that they were genuinely worried he might throw hands at his own quarterback during the game. This wasn't a coaching moment. This wasn't veteran leadership. This wasn't even just a heated disagreement between competitors. This was a full-blown crash out from someone who has completely lost the plot. And the crowd reaction tells you everything you need to know about how Browns fans feel about Jeudy. The moment this confrontation happened, the entire stadium erupted in boos. Not polite disagreement, not mild disapproval. Full-throated, aggressive, angry boos raining down from every section of that stadium. 70,000 people watching this unfold in real time, and their immediate reaction was to let Jeudy know exactly what they think of him and his garbage behavior. When your own home crowd is booing you that loudly during a game, when the people who paid money to come watch you play are expressing that level of disgust and contempt, you have officially become a liability and an embarrassment to your franchise. Now here's where this entire situation goes from merely outrageous to absolutely hysterical in its irony. Jeudy, the man who was screaming at his quarterback about one missed throw, leads the entire National Football League in dropped passes. Not dropped passes for the Browns. Not dropped passes among veteran receivers. Dropped passes in the entire NFL across all 32 teams. Jeudy has dropped 9 catchable passes this season. 9 times the football hit his hands. 9 times he had an opportunity to help his team. 9 times he could have moved the chains or picked up yards or given his quarterback a completion. And 9 times he completely failed to do his job. But somehow, someway, this man felt justified in aggressively confronting Shedeur Sanders over one incomplete pass that may not have even been entirely the quarterback's fault. The cognitive dissonance required to be Jeudy must be absolutely exhausting. To drop more passes than anyone in professional football. To be objectively the worst hands receiver in the league. To fail at the most basic, fundamental requirement of your position, which is catching the football when it's thrown to you, and then to turn around and attack your rookie quarterback for not being perfect on every single throw, requires a level of delusion that's actually impressive in its audacity. This man genuinely believes that he's been doing his job, that he's performing at a high level, that he has earned the right to criticize anyone. It's genuinely mind-boggling. Let's break down Jerry Jeudy's actual production this season because the numbers are catastrophically bad and they completely undermine any credibility he thinks he has. Through 12 games, Jeudy has caught 32 passes for 395 yards and 1 touchdown. One single solitary touchdown for a supposed number 1 receiver. Those numbers are so bad, they would be embarrassing for a 4th-string tight end or a backup running back who occasionally lines up as a receiver. For someone who's supposed to be the focal point of an NFL passing attack, those numbers are an absolute disaster. 32 catches means he's averaging less than 3 catches per game. 395 yards means he's barely averaging 33 yards per game. 1 touchdown means he's scored in less than 10% of the games he's played. And his yards per catch is sitting at barely over 12 yards, which means even when he does manage to actually hold onto the football, he's not making explosive plays or creating big gains. He's catching short passes, getting minimal yards after the catch, and doing absolutely nothing to help this offense generate the kind of explosive plays that win football games. That 1 touchdown statistic is particularly damning because it reveals that Jerry Jeudy is not a red zone threat. He's not someone the coaching staff trusts in critical situations. He's not a player who makes game-changing plays when the Browns desperately need them. 1 touchdown through 12 games is replacement-level production. It's the kind of stat line that gets players benched or cut or traded for conditional 7th-round picks. It's certainly not the kind of production that earns you the right to be screaming at your quarterback on the sideline. But wait, it gets even better. Remember that fumble Jeudy had in a previous game where he tried to do the stanky leg or some unnecessary celebration move after catching the ball and got it stripped? That's the perfect encapsulation of who Jerry Jeudy is as a player. He's so worried about looking cool, so concerned with showing off and getting attention, that he forgets to do the basic fundamentals like securing the football. That fumble cost the Browns possession. That fumble potentially cost them points. That fumble was entirely avoidable if Jeudy had just done his job instead of trying to showboat. And now this same player who fumbled because he was celebrating prematurely is attacking his quarterback for 1 incomplete pass. The hypocrisy is absolutely staggering. Let's talk about where Jerry Jeudy actually ranks among NFL receivers because this is where the delusion becomes truly comical. Jerry Jeudy is not a number 1 receiver. He's not even a number 2 receiver on most competitive NFL teams. Jerry Jeudy is, at absolute best, a number 3 slot receiver who's masquerading as a number 1 because the Cleveland Browns literally don't have anyone better. That's not an insult. That's just an objective assessment based on his talent level and production over multiple seasons. Let's run through this exercise. Would Jerry Jeudy be the number 1 receiver in Miami over Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle? Absolutely not. Would he be the number 1 in Cincinnati over Jamar Chase or T. Higgins? Are you kidding me? Would he be the number 1 in Philadelphia over A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith? Not even close. Would he be the number 1 in San Francisco over Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk? Laughable. Would he be the number 1 in Detroit over Amon-Ra St. Brown? No chance. Would he be the number 1 in Dallas over CeeDee Lamb? Come on now. Would he be the number 1 in Minnesota over Justin Jefferson? Don't make me laugh. You can go through almost every single team in the NFL, and the answer is the same. Jerry Jeudy would not be the number 1 receiver. He's only the supposed number 1 in Cleveland because the Browns' receiving core is one of the worst in football, and they literally have nobody else. Even then, you could make a compelling argument that tight end David Njoku has been more productive and more reliable than Jeudy this season. Njoku has made clutch catches. Njoku has shown up in big moments. Njoku hasn't led the league in dropped passes. By any objective measure, Njoku has been a better receiving option than Jerry Jeudy, which should be absolutely humiliating for someone who gets paid like a number 1 receiver. The comparison to actual elite number 1 receivers around the league makes Jerry Jeudy's season look even more pathetic. CeeDee Lamb is putting up all-pro numbers in Dallas. Tyreek Hill continues to be one of the most explosive playmakers in football. Justin Jefferson is doing Justin Jefferson things in Minnesota. Amon-Ra St. Brown is having a monster season in Detroit. Jamar Chase is terrorizing defenses every single week. These are legitimate number 1 receivers. players who make their quarterbacks better, who consistently win their matchups, who produce at elite levels week after week after week. Jerry Jeudy is none of those things. He's a fraud who's been exposed at every level of professional football. Steve Smith, the former All-Pro receiver who never holds back his opinions, has been absolutely brutal in his assessment of Jerry Jeudy, and everything he's said has been proven 100% correct. Smith called Jeudy mentally unable to handle constructive criticism. Smith called him a Tier 3 receiver. Smith said teams should avoid trading for him, and Smith has been vindicated on absolutely every single point. Jerry Jeudy is exactly what Steve Smith said he was, a limited receiver without the mental toughness or consistency to succeed at the highest level, someone who cannot handle the pressure and accountability that comes with being a professional. Let's not forget that the Denver Broncos, the team that drafted Jerry Jeudy in the first round back in 2020, couldn't wait to get rid of him. They shipped him out to Cleveland as fast as they possibly could because they recognized what everyone except apparently Jerry Jeudy himself knows. This man is not a franchise receiver. He's not a building block. He's not worth the headaches and drama that come with his attitude. Denver moved on without a second thought, and their offense hasn't missed him at all. In fact, they've gotten significantly better since Jeudy left. That should tell you everything you need to know about his actual value to an NFL team. Think about what it takes for an organization to give up on their first-round draft pick. NFL teams are notoriously patient with high draft picks because of the sunk cost fallacy and the embarrassment of admitting they made a mistake. But Denver looked at Jerry Jeudy's production, his attitude, his inability to consistently catch the football, his habit of creating drama, and they said, "We're done with this experiment." They traded him away and immediately got better. And now Cleveland is stuck dealing with the exact same player that Denver couldn't get rid of fast enough. The footage of this sideline confrontation reveals so much about both players involved. You've got Shedeur Sanders sitting there trying to review plays on his tablet, trying to learn from what just happened, trying to figure out how to be better on the next drive. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. That's what leaders do. That's what professionals do. He's being studious and focused and trying to improve. Meanwhile, Jerry Jeudy comes storming over like a lunatic, finger-pointing, voice raised, getting in Sanders' face, yelling about how the missed connection was Shedeur's fault. The expression on Shedeur's face during this confrontation says absolutely everything. You can see him thinking this dude is crazy, this man has lost his mind. I cannot believe I have to deal with this nonsense right now. But here's what really separates these two players. Shedeur Sanders had the restraint and professionalism to not escalate the situation. He didn't fire back at Jeudy, even though he would have been completely justified in doing so. He didn't point out that Jeudy leads the league in drops. He didn't ask who Jeudy thinks he is to be criticizing anyone. He didn't bring up the fumble or the terrible production or the fact that Jeudy has been one of the worst receivers in football all season. Sanders took the high road, maintained his composure, stayed calm, and let the offensive lineman pull Jeudy away before things got even more out of control. That's the mark of a true professional and a future franchise quarterback. Those offensive linemen stepping in to physically separate Jeudy from Sanders is such an important detail that cannot be overlooked. When your own teammates feel the need to physically restrain you and remove you from a situation, that tells you everything about how far out of line you are. Offensive linemen are naturally protective of their quarterbacks. They're the ones who sacrifice their bodies every play to keep the quarterback upright and healthy. When they see a receiver attacking their quarterback, especially over one incomplete pass, especially when that receiver has been terrible all season, they're going to shut that down immediately. The fact that it took multiple 300-pound men to pull Jeudy away suggests this wasn't just a brief moment of frustration, but a genuine escalation toward physical confrontation. After the game, Shedeur Sanders showed even more class and maturity in how he handled questions about this incident. He actually took responsibility for the missed throw. He didn't make excuses. He didn't blame Jeudy for running the wrong route. He didn't throw anyone under the bus. He talked about how quarterbacks have to account for wind conditions on deep throws, how he was calculating speed and distance and trajectory, and how he just missed on that particular attempt. He called it a missed shot and said when you miss, you have to stay on yourself and keep shooting. That's leadership. That's accountability. That's what franchise quarterbacks sound like. Meanwhile, Jeudy showed absolutely zero accountability. No acknowledgement of his own failures and mistakes, no recognition that maybe, just maybe, he's a significant part of the problem with this offense. No acceptance of the fact that his 9 dropped passes might be slightly more problematic than 1 incomplete pass from his quarterback. Jeudy is running around acting like he's been carrying this offense all season, when in reality he's been one of the biggest anchors dragging it down. Multiple film analysts who broke down that specific deep throw that set Jeudy off said that if Jeudy had maintained his speed and not slowed down on his route, the ball probably would have been catchable even with the wind conditions. So not only was Jeudy freaking out about a throw that was actually pretty close given the circumstances, but he may have been partially responsible for the incompletion because he didn't execute his route properly. Yet somehow, in his twisted mind, this warranted storming across the sideline and attacking his quarterback like Shedeur had just committed some unforgivable sin. The lack of self-awareness is absolutely breathtaking. The broader reaction from the NFL community has been almost universally critical of Jeudy. Fans across every social media platform have absolutely destroyed him. Former players have questioned his professionalism and mental toughness. Analysts have pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of his behavior. Even casual observers who don't follow the Browns closely recognize how absurd this situation is. When you're leading the league in dropped passes and attacking your rookie quarterback on national television, while your own home crowd boos you mercilessly, you've become a cautionary tale, a laughingstock, an example of everything wrong with entitled athletes who think they're way better than they actually are. Cleveland Browns fans have completely turned on Jeudy, and rightfully so. The comments sections are filled with people calling him a fraud, demanding he be cut immediately, pointing out that he's actively sabotaging Shedeur development, and expressing pure frustration that this is what their franchise has become. These aren't casual observers who don't understand football. These are die-hard fans who watch every single snap, who desperately want this team to succeed, who can clearly see that Jeudy is a massive problem that needs to be addressed immediately. Here's what makes this situation even more frustrating for Browns fans. They finally have a quarterback worth being excited about. Shedeur has shown genuine franchise potential despite being thrown into an absolutely terrible situation. He's made throws that most rookie quarterbacks simply cannot make. He's demonstrated pocket presence and awareness beyond his years. He's shown leadership and maturity that veterans twice his age struggle to demonstrate. He's handled adversity with remarkable grace and professionalism. And his reward for all of that? He has to deal with Jeudy having mental breakdowns on the sideline, creating drama that becomes national news, and undermining everything the Browns are trying to build offensively. The mental toll this kind of toxic environment takes on a young quarterback cannot be overstated. Shedeur is trying to learn NFL defenses, adjust to the incredible speed of professional football, develop chemistry and timing with his receivers, navigate the immense pressure of being a franchise quarterback, and deal with the fact that his team is losing more often than winning. He shouldn't also have to manage his own receivers attacking him on the sideline when things don't go perfectly. That's an additional layer of stress and frustration that makes an already impossibly difficult job even harder. And it's completely unnecessary and entirely avoidable if the Browns would simply hold Jeudy accountable for his behavior and performance. Jeudy is surviving purely on reputation at this point. He's coasting on the Biletnikoff Award he won years ago at Alabama. He's trading on the first-round pedigree that made people think he was destined for greatness. But reputation without production is completely meaningless in the NFL. The league doesn't care what you did in college 5 years ago. The league doesn't care what round you were drafted in. The league cares about one thing and one thing only. Can you play right now? And the answer for Jeudy has been a resounding no for multiple consecutive seasons. The Cleveland Browns organization needs to make a definitive decision about Jeudy, and they need to make it immediately. This kind of sideline behavior cannot be tolerated under any circumstances, but especially not from a player who's performed as poorly as Jeudy has all season. If the Browns are genuinely serious about building around Shedeur, if they truly believe he's the franchise quarterback they've been desperately searching for decades, then they absolutely cannot allow veteran players to publicly undermine and disrespect him. They need to send a crystal clear message that this behavior is completely unacceptable, that accountability actually matters in this organization, and that production on the field is what earns you the right to speak up and criticize others. That message needs to come in the form of significant consequences for Jeudy. Bench him for multiple games, reduce his role dramatically, and give his snaps to younger receivers who might actually catch the football when it hits their hands. Trade him for whatever minimal value you can get, even if it's just a conditional late-round pick. Or better yet, cut him outright and move on entirely. At this point, the Browns would be addition by subtraction. Get Jeudy out of the building, eliminate the toxic influence he's having on the locker room, remove the distraction and drama, and stop pretending that he's a piece worth building around. He's not. He's proven repeatedly over multiple seasons that he's not a difference maker, not a reliable option, and not someone with the mental makeup to succeed at the highest level of professional football. What's particularly galling about this entire situation is that even Browns defensive captain, Myles Garrett, had to step up and defend Shedeur Sanders when the offensive coaching staff wouldn't. Garrett, who plays on the other side of the ball and has zero responsibility for any of this offensive drama, came out and called Jeudy's behavior demeaning and disparaging. He made it absolutely clear that the team stands behind Shedeur 100%. He expressed disappointment in Jeudy and questioned whether he's giving maximum effort. That's real leadership. That's what having someone's back looks like. And it's absolutely pathetic that the defensive captain is providing better support and leadership for the offensive quarterback than anyone on the actual offensive coaching staff. Jeudy needs to look in the mirror and have a serious moment of self-reflection, though based on everything we've seen, that's probably never going to happen. He needs to ask himself some hard questions. Why am I leading the league in dropped passes? Why do I only have 1 touchdown through 12 games? Why did Denver give up on me so quickly? Why are my own home fans booing me? Why do my teammates have to physically restrain me from attacking our quarterback? Why am I blaming everyone except myself for my failures? Until Jeudy can honestly answer those questions and take real accountability for his performance and behavior, he's going to continue being exactly what he is right now, a washed-up receiver with an inflated ego causing problems for everyone around him. The contrast between Jeudy and actual elite receivers around the league is stark and embarrassing. Elite receivers make their quarterbacks look better, they create separation consistently, they catch difficult passes in traffic, they make plays in crucial moments, they lead by example in the locker room, they take accountability when things go wrong, they mentor younger players, they put the team above their individual stats. Jeudy does none of these things. He drops easy passes, he fumbles after catches, he creates sideline drama, he blames his quarterback. He acts like a diva without the production to justify that attitude. That's not a number 1 receiver. That's not even a number 3 receiver. That's someone who shouldn't be on an NFL roster.